Your factory upper control arms are not the strongest things in the world, but worst yet, they feature a standard ball joint that binds when put under heavy articulation, which limits your front suspension travel. Camburg's UCAs feature a strong tubular steel design and a Uniball joint instead of a ball joint, so that your F150's front suspension gets maximum travel and articulation with all of its other front suspension components. Getting started, remove your front wheels for access to the suspension. And for more room to work, we unclipped the upper dust shield from the wheel well liner. Starting disassembly, loosen but do not fully remove the nut that attaches the upper control arm to the knuckle. We will then take a hammer to break the UCA loose from the knuckle. Loosen and remove the nuts on both of the side UCA mounts. Our coilover was small enough to wiggle out the bolt without removing the upper coilover bolts, but your situation may differ and you may need to unbolt the top coilover mounts. The bolt at the UCA and knuckle can now be removed and the factory UCA pulled out of the truck. To set up the new Camburg upper control arm, take the grease fittings and unscrew the 90-degree fitting from the base. If you don't do this step, the grease fitting will be too wide to thread into the upper control arm. Once you have threaded in the base of the grease fittings, you can then thread back in the 90-degree fitting. Once all 4 grease fittings are installed, press in the bushings into the sides of the control arm. We then took a dab of grease and spread it inside the bushings to prepare for the sleeves, which can then be installed next. And lastly, we put a layer of grease on the outside of the bushings to ease with installation and to help keep them quiet while driving. Here is how the bearings will set up once the UCA is in the truck. The top and bottom pieces of the bearings slide in and the bolt slides through the middle. So now slide in the upper control arm to the shock tower. You may need a hammer to help install it fully and align the bolt holes. Then slide in the 2 bolts and loosely thread on their nuts. Insert the bushings into the upper control arm and bring it down into the knuckle. Then thread on the nut and washer and tighten it down. The side 2 bolts can also be tightened down at this point, and all that is left to do to complete the install is replace the dust shield. Read up more on these Camburg upper control arms by clicking the link at the end of this video, or head to stage3motorsports.com.